I want to start out by giving a quick shout out to my ammunition sponsor, which is me. I had to pay for all this ammo. I could use an ammunition sponsor though for these videos. So to any of the ammunition companies out there, if you want to throw a few boxes here or there, that would be awesome. I would love to feature your ammo, especially if it's good quality ammo, on my channel, mostly focusing on long range content. Anyways, I'm going to throw some of this ammo, which I'm not going to mention, here at some closer distances. I'm only at 100 and some odd yards, but trying out the tripod a little more and what kind of vibration I'm going to get off of the concrete. It's very, very hot. It is 90 plus degrees. You do actually have to lock this, by the way. It's 90 plus degrees. It's just hot to be shooting, but it's a good day to try out the tripod. And this is the rifle that I have that recoils actually the most. It really does bounce around a lot. I took the weights off it too. I should probably take the tripod or the bipod off, and we'll just see how this can handle that vibration and recoil overall. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a few, at least, at some steel. You should be able to hear the impacts. I suppose the discerning eye is going to look at this with the smaller diameter legs and the height, and they're going to wonder how much rigidity or how much strength or how much consistency am I going to have to give up to still go that tall and simultaneously stay super lightweight, because this is an incredibly light tripod. My answer is not enough to make me miss regular size targets. Let's say 1.5 MOA targets. As long as it's not crazy windy out and I'm doing my part, I've actually found this to still be pretty consistent as a tripod, whether that's flexed out, I'm sitting in a seated position, which is going to add to rigidity and stability overall. The stability factor, it just multiplies every time you reduce a leg and every time you change the angle. Stability factor is going exponentially higher every single time. And of course, the standing position is the least stable, the least consistent position. As far as, you know, there's a lot of input. Your body has a lot of input on everything that's happening here. And you might be fanning those legs out, which is great, but then you have a lot of weight hanging over on your rifle. So depending on what kind of rifle you're shooting, this might not replace, and probably doesn't replace, the other Sunwayfoto tripods that have 40mm legs. Unless your goal is to stay lightweight, to have the flexibility to go tall, maybe with a spotting scope or a lightweight rifle, 22s, that kind of thing, binoculars. I think you're still in the running with this. I just don't see a downside with some of the lighter applications with something like this. If you needed it to fit inside of a backpack, that could be something, you know, essentially you're gonna have to have this store in that footprint right there. My backpacks all have exterior pockets and capability to attach a tripod. I'm really not worried ever about having it stored inside. It has these kind of like weatherproof, dustproof, rainproof locks on here. The twisters are good quality, so I don't mind having this exterior to my pack. That might be one thing that sets you back on this particular tripod, and you might want to look at some of the other tripods if that's an issue for you where it has to be inside of the pack. This is just a bit long for some of the bags out there. I do, in fact, actually have a few backpacks, including an Eberly stock. This fits in just fine inside of, but out of convenience, the fact that I'm probably going to grab it and set it up quickly, whether you're doing an NRL Hunter match or you're traveling, you're hunting, and you want to have access to it. You don't want to have to open your backpack. So I don't mind attaching this on the outside. I don't even use the scabbard for it or the carrying case for it typically, because when I put it on here compared to the 40 millimeter Sunwayfoto legs and the bigger tripods, like I just reviewed the biggest tripod that Sunwayfoto has, gets crazy tall, big thick legs, only has one twister on it, 2 leg portions. Compared to that, yes, this is not going to be the same. They're not even the same ballpark really, but the weight and size, compactness, all that, they're not really a good comparison. And so if you're already looking for something lighter weight, this is what you need. And if you need something that is ultimately very, very stable and you can handle the weight wherever you're taking it, or you're just gonna be in a static position, I want you to go and watch this other Sunwayfoto video that I've already done on some of their bigger tripods with 40 millimeter legs. This should be aimed at people who are trying to stay lightweight, generally smaller footprint, and you don't have a big heavy precision rifle you're loading up on this. Even that AR-10 that I was just shooting is really the top of what I would throw on here, because it's such a rear heavy rifle in the way that it's set up. It doesn't have Picatinny all the way back, or Arca all the way back, and so I had that one flexing just a little bit. The weight is dispensed just kind of wrong, bad balance for a tripod, but this still held it for the most part. It did pretty well, and I was able to hit a 4-inch, a 6-inch, and an 8-inch target without even trying. That was easy. I could have gone rapid fire if the target didn't bounce out of the way. And then at 200 yards here in a standing position, I actually felt pretty comfortable on the, I think that's a 10-inch target there at 200 yards standing, and then kneeling or getting down really low and actually sitting down on my bottom as well. I say bottom because I'm a daddy, that's funny. Sitting on my butt, it's hard to say that it's much more or much less stable than some of the other tripods. It just doesn't weigh as much. Okay, so it holds the position well. It doesn't weigh as much, so the recoil of a heavy recoiling rifle, even with the legs splayed out, yeah, it's still gonna hop on you a little more than the other ones do. An easy solution to that would be get a rock bag. Sunwayfoto sells rock bags, and I use them on almost all their products. A rock bag, put something heavy in there, like actually rocks from around you, a log, something like that, or your backpack itself. Hook it up and weight this thing down if you're going to be, again, in a static position and you're looking for the maximum stability. For me, I'm going to say this is a very practical level tripod. I think I probably prefer this over the older model for a couple reasons. I really like this head. This is the SDC50 head. Big fan of the Picatinny Arca combo here, the adjustments and the lock, as well as the way that the neck tensions so that I can quickly engage and change angles. The leg angles are traditional to the other Sunwayfoto products as far as I can tell, and the quality is still there. This is a good tripod. It's strong, and it's probably much stronger than it gets credit for, considering the legs. You know, with a T2830, some people might suppose that this just can't hold much weight, but I actually think it does. It just requires some balance over the appropriate portions here. You can't balance everything rear heavy like I was there with that rifle. You would need to balance out a little bit on the front. But at that point, if I'm really that worried about it, I'm just gonna get one of their bigger tripods. This is for lighter weight rifles and spotting scopes and binoculars, and look how dang tall the thing gets. Considering the weight of this product, this is gonna fit a lot of people just fine, and it's still not gonna hurt you. If you're a shorter person and you don't need quite a bit of height most of the time, this still isn't gonna hurt you. You can set it up good for you too. The price has come down a lot on these. Price-wise, I think these are more competitive than almost everything else out there when you're talking about the quality control, the durability, materials that are used. The quality of the carbon fiber is very, very good, and the strength of these twisters and the barrels. I feel like Sunwayfoto is hitting far above a lot of the competition with that, and you're just gonna get a lot more bang for your buck. A few reasons that the T2830 CSL makes a great spotter host tripod for me is, number one, it gets tall enough for me. I'm 6'5", and this one will get actually tall enough. And I try to actually sit at competitions from time to time, so I'm not standing on my feet, most of the time. I'll sit and I can fan the legs out with the regular angles. It isn't very heavy, and I don't need a super broad head like a shooting head for this one, although I can shoot off this. So I kind of find like this is a multi-purpose style of tripod, and it fits a lot of applications. I actually have filmed with this a few times now just because it was in my vehicle, and it gets very tall, it's lightweight, and it has pretty much all the accessories or the ability to attach accessories that I normally need when I'm doing some filming as well. And so I use a DJI Pocket Osmo, and I have for years. Since the Generation 1 Osmo, I've used those. And this has Arca, so I can quickly Arca in. It has Picatinny, and I have Picatinny bottoms for some of my Gen 1 Osmos, or Osmo, so I can click into that as well. I always have what I need with this particular head, and I can switch it out in the same session, get a spotting scope, and today I actually needed a spotting scope so I could record a little bit of footage. Thank you to Maven for sending this out to the channel. So I needed a spotter. I mounted up, and the Arca footprint on here is adjustable. Not every Arca device or Arca plate is going to be exactly the same, so the fact that it's adjustable means I can fit going straight from a rifle to this, to one of my camera gear pieces, with just slight adjustments on the other side. I'm going to flip this around for you. So on the other side, I can grab a hold of that wheel and make those adjustments, and I don't want stuff like this getting knocked off. This is, you know, I don't know, $1,900, $2,000, somewhere in there. That's an excellent piece of glass, and I don't want this getting ruined. So I do use typically a rock bag, like you can see there. It's not going to come with those leg covers. I just added those on there. Or the rock bag, you have to buy stuff like that separately. But they're very useful, they're functional. In the wintertime especially, I really like some sort of leg cover on there. That Sunwayfoto sells lots of different kinds of leg covers. And I'm going all over the place. I just wanted you to know, I trust this. I think it's reliable, it's sturdy, and it's pretty versatile as well. Well, alright everybody, I'm going to wrap up the video with that. Again, I think these are some of the best bang for your buck. And I know a lot of you are like me, and you can only really afford one or two tripods, probably one, and you might need it to do more than one thing pretty well. And so I think there is going to be a group out there where instead of the one tripod that's going to be very, very robust, you're actually going to be looking at a tripod that maybe sacrifices a little bit of the extra thick legs, those 40mm legs. Maybe you're willing to sacrifice that, but you still need the height, and you still want the versatility to be able to splay the legs out and go low and use it as a spotter, or stay low in a field position somewhere. I can just think of so many applications for this type of tripod, and this is going to be more so in your price point and also your weight limitations. And then it also achieves the multi-purpose capability. Again, Sunwayfoto is producing like kind of a lot. They're making a lot in this field. They're hard to compete with in most of manufacturing because I think their quality control is very high. They add a lot of features to these, and their features work. They're ingenuitous, if that's a word. Even they come up with their own ideas, and their ideas do tend to work really well. And then they take feedback and they quickly bounce back with new products if they think there's something that they can improve. And so they're going places, they're doing really well, and this tripod works really well. I'm making hits at a little over 220 yards.
Go for that 4-incher. That's tricky for sure from a standing position.
So like I said, a little over 220 yards actually with my CZ457 here, and the tripod is doing its part just fine. So it's a great hunting tripod, it's a great spotting tripod, binoculars or spotting scopes, shooting as well. As you can see here, I just don't see a huge amount of limitations to it, but for me, I will use this for maybe more backpacking, filming, hunting, and then I'll use my big tripods for competition because I do like to use those with a precision rifle.
There it is, 2 times in a row. Well, not 2 times in a row. Two out of 4 hits there. That's a 2 MOA target at 200 yards with a 22 in the wind.
If you want to know more, go to their website, check them out there, but they're also available on Amazon, and I highly suggest you see what else they have to offer aside from tripods.
What was that, 3 for 5? 3 for 6 or 3 for 5? That's not too bad actually from a standing position on one of these.